Has public schooling achieved its function? Let's first unpack the purpose of public schooling and what are the economic, sociological, and historical dimensions of it. From an economic perspective, public schooling is an investment in human capital that serves as a cost-effective measure for the state, reducing families and communities' needs for social assistance, public health care, and legal support, increases parents' productivity, wages, and income tax, and increases students' chance of pursuing post-secondary education. Looking at the economic results from spending in public schooling, we can see that according to Statistics Canada last report from 2018, the total expenditure in public elementary and secondary education was 66 billion, 3.2% of the GDP, while GDP for the same year was 1.7 trillion. Also, results from investing in public schooling in Canada were evaluated by the Conference Board of Canada in 2019, where they found that in Ontario, every additional high school graduate saves the province around $2,767 annually on social assistance, healthcare, and criminal justice. Moving to a sociological perspective, public schooling is seen to have two functions, a technical and a shaping function. The technical function is to teach students skills and values, and the shaping function is to socialize individuals into their cultures and society. From a structural functionalist point of view, education has a manifest function, learning ABCs and 1 to 3s, teaching as hidden curriculum and sorting students. The hidden curriculum is learning about social norms and values that may be informal or unwritten. Economist MacArthur Gupta found that higher spending and enrollment in public schooling is associated with better health outcomes, less precarious work, lower crime rates, and more political and civic participation. Another important concern of sociology is how education can help in the fight against poverty. According to economist Jackson and colleagues, 10% increase in spending per student a year through a student's elementary to secondary education was linked with 0.3 increase in educational attainment and 3.2 reduction in annual adult poverty. Yet, why does public education even exist in the first place? The history of public schools in Canada has transformed and enacted the mission of providing universal, equal, diverse, and free access to education for all children. Another important purpose of public schooling is to be a guide and path towards reconciliation with Indigenous peoples. That intergenerational trauma caused throughout Canada's history of cultural genocide in residential schools has brought to up from other important purposes of public schooling, like regaining trust of Indigenous peoples in the education system, increasing enrollment and graduation of Indigenous children, and indigenizing that curriculum. So what changes are being done? Starting in 2016, the government started a 5-year investment project in public education of Indigenous peoples. According to Statistics Canada overview of expenditure from 2016-2017 on Indigenous people, the government started the investment of $2.6 billion over 5 years in primary and secondary schooling on reserve. Also, an investment of $1.9 billion started going toward instructional services, student support services, and other programs. The investment of public schooling for Indigenous peoples has shown an increase in students' enrollment from 2015 up to 2021, according to Statistics Canada reports. From the school year 2015-2016 to the school year 2020-2021, there was a 9.3% increase in students' enrollment. So, an important question comes. Has public schooling achieved its function? Not yet, at least not completely. There are still persistent gaps in the education system. Socioeconomic status matters. Children from low socioeconomic status are prone to experience school entry gaps, usually due to less parental involvement. Also, parents' education and socioeconomic status is the best predictor of a child's educational attainment and achievement. And very important, schools still are spaces that reproduce inequalities through the reproduction of the status quo. According to Statistics Canada 2021 report, women, some minorities, and Indigenous peoples are overrepresented in lower income quantiles. Disparities between Indigenous youth on reserve and off reserve are persistent, and for Indigenous people, they keep experiencing unequal employment opportunities and higher unemployment rates than non-Indigenous youth. The ideals and reality of public-funded schooling are still unaligned, but strongly connected. The education system has grown through the years, welcoming more diverse population into the system. Still, the system is constantly looking for innovation at the population of students that grows and becomes more diverse. The system itself needs to become more diverse and to attend cultural needs of different groups. Education and economic growth have served as an incentive to increase spending in education, although funds are not distributed equitable. More people are part of the system and have started their own movements to demand better fund allocation.
Created using Powtoon.